Hello everyone, today we're gonna do something very interesting to me. We're gonna build a Laravel API with Laravel Sanctum and we're gonna connect that to an Next.js application. And besides that, we're also gonna connect it with a Laravel Reverb, so basically we're gonna have a real-time application. Let's dive right in. Alright, so first we're gonna just create a new Laravel application. Let's say Laravel new, let's call it games API, because we're gonna make games rooms, so basically the players can join. We're gonna use the Laravel Breeze and we're gonna go with the API only, since we only want an API. Laravel Breeze is a very nice boilerplate because it already has whatever we need for the API to work. Also, now we're gonna be asked about database. We're gonna choose the SQLite, of course, and we're gonna run the migration. I think they're gonna ask us about some other migrations after it's finished, in which we will say yes. Yes. Okay. It seems like everything is going very good. It's installing the Breeze, the Pail. Nice. Very good. Before we sit into the games API, we want to also create the Next.js application. To do that, I'm actually gonna go to the Laravel Breeze next, and I'm gonna use this. So let's clone this. I'm gonna go back, warp, and git clone this, and let's call it games client. Yes. Okay. Now let's code into games API. And I also want to code into the games client. 1 second, I'll make this bigger for you guys. And go code games client. Perfect. Alright, let's make this bigger as well. Into this context, we also need to install it, all the yarn. So we have the package installation. While it's installing, let's go and check the environment variables. After the first installation, you're gonna see that the Next.js template boilerplate comes with a .env.example. We're just gonna copy this and name it .env, because that's what we're gonna use. We're gonna use the localhost 8000 for this part. I think it's installed. Let's yarn dev into this. And while this is working here, let's see how it looks like. As you can see, the Laravel Breeze came with a login and register. This is not gonna work right now because we also need to start the API. So let's go and do that right now. So I'm gonna open this as well. Let's go and check the .environment variables here. So basically you can see you have the application URL, and this is the front-end URL where the client is being hosted from. One important stuff here is we will be adding some new, let's say some new items besides what we already have here, but that will be created automatically by Laravel Reverb. So now let's just go and do PHP artisan serve. So basically we're gonna serve the application. Even if I have it served on the head, I want it to be served on this port because it's very important for the Laravel Reverb. Okay, so now since we have this, I want to actually add one more terminal and add it here. And now I will do a seed. PHP artisan migrate fresh with seed. I want to have that because we have database seeder, and it's gonna create to me a new test example user, so I don't have to register. If you want, you can also register, because when you come to the Breeze next application, you have the register here and it should be working. But let's go back and log in. We're gonna use the test example.com. The password is password. It seems like it's not working. It's a 404. So basically we have an issue. Alright, so I had an issue and I debugged. It was a really awkward one because what was the issue is that I had a space here, and when you have a space there and you try to run this, it's gonna give you, it's gonna call the APIs at port 3000 or something. Yeah, it's gonna call on this part. And I just went back there and deleted the white space. Always be careful about stuff like this. Perfect. So now after I actually fixed the bug, and now here it's gonna say it's on the port 3000 is the one that on the Laravel it's created. So now we can go and test example.com password, and now we logged in. Perfect. And this is the panel that comes with the breeze next. It's looking very nice. Okay, so now after we created this, we want to go into the API and prepare it. So basically we're gonna create a model for that. So let's go to just that. So to create a model, let's just go and say PHP artisan make model games. It will be multiple. Should we create it game? No, let's just leave games, and we want a migration and a factory with that. So we do that, and after it was created, let's go to games. I want it to actually let's think about what we want it to have. Let's just leave it simple, only the title. And we also want it to be in a relationship with the users, but belongs to many, because we want a many-to-many relationship here. So basically we do this, and when we go to user, we also want here to add the public belongs to many games. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we imported both of those. Games was imported, good. Now I go back here. So I have many users can have many games, and to actually do that, let's create a migration. PHP artisan make migration. Let's call it user games, and go to user games. And here we want it to have an foreign ID for the user ID and game ID. I want it to be nullable because it's easier to just add that. And let's drop if exists. Perfect. Okay, let's do the migration. Migrate. Okay, now I want the games to be I want to have some multiple games in the database. So let's create a factory for that. I think I already added the factory, so game factory, games factory, perfect. Let's go up here and do title fixed sentence. Good, so now we have one here. Let's go to database seeder, and inside here let's add a factory of 10. Let's import that, and now let's just do seed. I have an alias, that's why it's working like that. And we have an error which says debugging has no columns named title, of course. Okay, so we go to games. I added the title here. Games, create games. I didn't add it here. So we want a table string title. So let's go and do seed again. Perfect. Now if I check the database, I'm gonna see that I have user games. It's perfect, and we have games. All right, amazing. Now let's go and hop into the front end and try to call those into an API. But actually, now that I think about it, to actually do that, we need to also create a route into the API. So let's go route.getGames and get all of the games. Let's actually take this with count, and we'll basically get users as players count, and this will basically give us all of the games with one more attribute to each game. It's gonna be the users that are within that game joined, and it will be the players count. Okay, and I also want the create games to have a table of players count, no, a maximum players. So let's go with table unsigned int players count max players. All right, default will be 2. because we always want to have 2 players for each game. Okay, let's run seed again because I want to recreate the database. Good, I want to check that. So we have the database games, max players to perfect, amazing. Okay, so now let's go into the API route. We have this. We returned all of the games, but let's actually create a controller. So we will do PHP artisan make controller. Controller will be named games controller. It will be empty for now. And with the games controller, we're gonna have the index, which is basically whatever we created in the first route, and we want public function join because we want to join a game. So we have the users attach. Yes, that's right, we can attach to that, and we also want to leave. So we have attach and detach. This is amazing. This is one of the reasons I like Laravel, because it's so easy to just do stuff with it. Okay. Ooh, this is using Eloquent as well. So now since we have this, yeah, please just help me, cursor. Amazing. Make a group. No, let's just leave it at that. We have the games controller, which we want to import, and now we have the index, join, leave. These two are post and one is get. Okay, this is looking perfect for the backend side. I don't think we have any issues right now, but I will though install. Let me see if I already have installed. I think I saw that PHP artisan Pail. Yep, perfect. So we have this. So now I'll also do use the Pail service. Pail is a very nice thing within the artisan ecosystem. It helps you when you run this. It's kind of like a console log or something. It just logs all of the items from the log file that happens, so it's helping us with debug. Good. Now we go back to the front-end application and we want to go, let's actually go to the application dashboard. Yeah, so we want to show the games here. Let's create a list first. I'll make a component. It will be called games list.js. Let's make export const games list. Okay, this I want it to actually be a list. Let me think about it. How do I want it to be called? So we have an API there. We're gonna use a hook that's gonna just get those. Let's make a table. Make a table of. Do I want a table? No. Make a list of. No, actually, make cards. Make a card list with games name and 2 buttons that are join and leave, so we can join those if we want. Okay, let's wait for Cloud to do its job here. It's gonna use a grid. Yeah, I want that. Accept. We have here, it's calling handle join and handle leave. That's not gonna work. If we had TypeScript, it would have told us that it's not gonna work, because yeah, we don't have that. Also here we need to do that because it's gonna crash otherwise. Okay, but it's very good. Please make some mock data. I'm gonna just have some mock data so that we can see how it's gonna look. Mock games, let's do that for now. And I think that's it. Don't need this yet. Let's go to the dashboard. And now here, yes, we import it there. Put it around here. And let's check how it's looking. Okay. I saw an issue there. Test example.com password. That's because I think we migrated. It wasn't called. So I need to call it. Of course, this is another thing that could have been fixed directly with TypeScript because I would have known of the issue. Okay, so we have games list chess. Nice, amazing. So we can click those. Nothing is happening right now, but we're working on it. Good, so now let's go back. Let's go to games list. I will delete this because I don't want that. And I also will leave this how it's looking because it's okay. Now we want to actually create a hook for us. So to do that, let's go into this is the backend side. Now we go to the front end side. We go to hooks and create a games hook, games.js. And let me think about how I want to do that. Okay, so for this, let's do export const useGames. Are we gonna use SWR? Yes, but I actually want a const fetcher and modify this. That's cleaner. I like that more. Import use SWR and Axios. Yeah, Axios is good. Okay, data games error use SWR. API games. Do we have that like that? Perfect. We have it like that. This when I go console log and we go with the games. Now I want this to be used in the games list. So we go back to the games list and now we're gonna use games and we're gonna import it here. And yeah, we're gonna change the games there, but that's not all. Since we're using Next.js 14, we want to also be sure to use client here because otherwise it's just not gonna work. So let's test this. I hope we don't have any issues, but we'll see. Okay, we don't have any issues. It's interesting. We don't see anything though. So that's because we have internal. Okay, so it's 500. If it's 500, then it comes from the server. So now since we have Pail installed here, we can find out why. So no search table games users, games user. User games, yeah, because I named it otherwise. So let's just change it here, games user, and we do another migration to this part, seed. This is my alias for that. This is gonna work, this is gonna work, and now I go back into the application, and of course we're logged out. Test on example.com, password. And now let's see. We have another error. Let's go back into the backend and check what the error says. It says now that no such table games user. Okay. Games. Oh my god. Typos. Be aware of those. We do it again. Go back. Start test on example.com, password. Okay. Now what? What issues do we have? Okay, so we have another issue that is based on games user.games ID. Okay, that's something different because it's calling here games ID, user ID, games ID. Yeah, because of that. So we do again seed test on example.com, password, and as you saw, it's working perfect. This is the items. I will also want to add the max players and the player count and also the title. So let's go and do just that. Okay, let's go to not the backend, the front end. Okay, perfect. Let's go into the man. I really want TypeScript on this part. It's gonna be a lot better to just use TypeScript. Okay, so we have this game ID, game name, game title. Let's see, perfect. Now let's add two more things here. So basically we have the button, and we also want to have no description, but we can use this. It will be was the max players, or what was its name? Actually want to do from here console log that games so I can see properly. So we have the title, max players and players count. Good. So we come here and do max players. Okay, players game. Oh, max count. Max players count. Get that back. Players count. Perfect. So we have 0 out of 2 players. Nice. Good. So we have this. Now we need to have 2 functions to join and leave. What we're gonna do, we already have in the API that part. So this is looking like that. MB2 P4 players, this like that. Okay. Into the useGames, let's actually create a const join game, which will post in here and which will leave game with access post on the games game ID leave game ID join. Yep, that's right. And now we can go back here and actually add those two and we uncomment those. So we have the handle join and handle leave. Now what's gonna happen if everything is working correctly? Of course it's not, because it's not telling me with TypeScript because I don't have TypeScript, but I need to rename this, so it needs to be leave game and join game. So what's gonna happen right now, if I go back here, you're gonna see if I join this, it should join the game and not break. Okay, now nothing happened, but when I refresh, yeah, it's updating, so it's working perfectly. So now when I leave and I refresh, it's going to show 02. I can join multiple games, and actually I think I can join this again. Okay, that's bad, we need to fix that. We basically need to go back into the code, but not here. We need to go into the API, and when we go to the controller, we have only one controller, and when we want to attach a user, we want it to be unique. Make it so only unique can join. Okay, sync without attaching. Nice. All right. But now if we did that, we need to go back. I need to leave it twice. I'll leave this again, and let's test now. I pressed twice and now it's only joining one time. Nice, amazing. I love Laravel. Good. So we have the join, we have the leave. I think we're set up, and now we need to install the Laravel Reverb server and do the broadcasting for us. Good. To do that, actually, it's gonna take a little bit because it's not so simple. First, we need to come here and do PHP, I think it was PHP artisan, install broadcasting. Yeah, and it will prompt us if we want to install Laravel Reverb. If you don't do that, it's gonna install Pusher on the backend. We want the Laravel Reverb, which also uses Pusher, but it's a little bit different. Okay, we don't want to build no dependencies for this, so we'll just do no. Okay, and now one thing to note, when I go back to the .env, remember that I also said that it's gonna look a little bit different after we install the reverb. We're gonna see that it added its own configuration here. So now what we need to do is we want to come here and copy this and add it into the front end. Now it's gonna see that it's not working. Let's go to the front end side and go to the .env file, and now we want to copy here. I also want add next public. We want to have that in the front because it's not gonna work otherwise for the Next.js. Good. Very careful about the port. It needs to be this one, and on the backend it needs to be this one. perfect. So it needs to be 101, otherwise it's not gonna work. Now in the backend side, it also created in the installation a file named Echo.js. So basically this is how they were going to use the transporter for the channels on the front-end side. So basically you can take this and just create, let's go back to the front end, and in the app I'm gonna make Echo.js, but this is just temporary because we want to take this and actually make it to be a hook. So basically we're gonna use Echo. Okay, so in order to do that, we come here and do Echo.js, and we can copy, actually let's just copy everything here. We can delete this one because we don't need it anymore, and yes, move to trash, import correctly since we have the Next.js correct. And now we need to install the two dependencies, which is Laravel Echo and Pusher.js. Here add Laravel Echo and Pusher.js. Okay, yep, it's installed. So now we need to create this to actually be hook, because it's not a hook right now. All right, so I just copied this from another project of mine. It's similar, but here is the hook. So basically we use the use state here, and we create a new Echo instance, and that Echo instance just uses Echo and has this part authorizer. This is very important because it's going to have another kind of configuration on the backend to make it work. Otherwise it will not work. To actually see this, you can go to the documentation on the Laravel Sanctum, and here down at authorizing private broadcast channels, sorry, you're gonna see the whole configuration here. This is the important part. Okay, now we also need to take this and modify the application from the Laravel side. So let's go do that. We are here, and now we go into the app, which should be under the Bootstrap. So we need to actually comment the channels here and add it the with broadcasting into this place. Otherwise sorry, my neck, otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, so now we have this setup. Now okay, we have the Laravel Pail. I will leave it here. Let's go and do, actually let's go clear, because I want to see if we have something new. So PHP artisan Pail, okay, and we do the artisan serve. So we have the API here, and now one new stuff, we're gonna run the artisan reverb start. This is a new command that came with the installation of the reverb, and as you can see, it's starting the reverb part on the 8080 port. Let's go back to the front end and see if everything is still working. So we are here. Yes, so it seems like we are still here when nothing is happening right now, because we only installed the Laravel Reverb, and now let's go and connect it to the front end. To use the Laravel Reverb, we actually want first to create a new event so that it can be triggered when something is happening on the front end. So let's go with PHP artisan make event. Let's call it games updated. So basically we're gonna trigger this event whenever we join or leave a game. Okay, so we go to games updated, and as you know, when we go to the games controller, here we take the index with the with count. So basically we can copy this and we want to add it here. And now let's just import it back here, because this is what we want to offer to the front end, to the broadcast whenever we change something. And besides that, let's go to the public games here, and we should broadcast. We need to implement should broadcast, but we don't want to have a queue. This one is the version where you would have a queue in the background that will do the update, but we want to do that now, so we should broadcast now. Okay, and we don't want a private channel. Let's just do a channel named games. Now, since we created this, let's go to the channels. This is within the routes. So basically this was created when we installed the reverb. And now we can just create a broadcast games, and I will always return true to this one because, well, we don't want to add any policy for the first part. Okay, we can also delete this. So basically anyone who connects to this part, to the channel games, can see the information that's updated there. And now we want to go to the games controller, and within this, let's do broadcast and new games updated. We don't want that. We can just import it. Okay. Games updated, and we will also broadcast the games updated here. So I think this is all of the setup from the backend side. Now we need to go and run this into the frontend side. To do that, I'll go and check if everything is working correctly. Yeah, it seems like it's working. Now let's go to the front end. We already have the echo, and we can go to the games list, and within the games list sorry guys, I think I have something wrong with my neck. I will go here and actually do the echo use echo, and we need to import that, and we will have to do an effect, use effect echo join. No, we want a channel, and we want to listen to the channel, and you can choose games. This is the channel, and then we return the stop listening at the end of that. But we also want it to be echo here and games. Okay, let's see if everything is working correctly. Let's go back. Loading. Okay, we have a problem. Use echo is not defined. That's because it was imported from here. It was default use echo. Okay. Sorry. This effect wasn't imported. Okay, so we have an error here. Of course, it's with two O's. So basically we can come here and delete that. And we have use echo here. We have echo down. We can also, we need to check if, let's just do echo. Then we do this, otherwise it will not work. And here, instead of that, let's do const channel, which should be the echo.channel. And let's not listen here, but do that channel listen. Yeah, channel that listen game event. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Let's see what it says. Failed because use effect is not defined. Of course, we need to also import that. So we import the use effect. Now, okay, something is happening. Nothing is happening when I press this, but we don't have an error. Okay, let's go back. So now we have the channel. We echo the channel games, and we listen for game event to happen. I think we have it already broadcasted up there. So now we console log this, and we listen to that part. Let me think about something here, because this should already work, I feel. And of course, it's about the naming. So basically we have here game event. We need to say games updated, and here as well. So now this should actually update or show us something in the front end. Let's see. We come here, we join. Yep, perfect. So we have all of the games, and all of the games have the max players and players count. Perfect. Now we need to update the UI. So we go back, and to update the UI, we can say game set games, update games, set updated games. Yes, state we need to call that, and set updated games. Actually, no, let's not do that. I think a better way will be to just come here and say update games, and then we go back to use games and we do const update games. We don't set games, you want to mutate games with yeah, I think that should work. And now let's do update games. Go back here, we have the update games, we delete the use state because we don't want that, and we do update games here. Let's see if it's gonna work. We're back here, join, leave. Okay, mutate is not defined. That's because I didn't, of course, an error that could have been fixed if we had that. And here, let's just do that now. Okay, is that map is not a function. That means something is happening and we have some item there, but actually fill that in. Let me check something. Responsive. So we have the, let's go back, and actually here we don't do this. Date games revalidate. Let's see. And now we leave and join, and we can join others and leave, and let's take this on another page with incognito. This is what we created. So we came here, let's go to register, let's register new player 2 on test.com, password. After the register is gonna be authenticated, it asks for a verification. Let's go into the database and actually change that. So we can go I will just open the database and edit it. Reveal in Finder. I'll open it with table plus. Let me share that to you guys if I can. It doesn't allow me to. Just okay. Let me put it here. Okay, so now we have the users, and let's just copy this verified at. It's verified. You come back here. Now the verify shouldn't take me here. I'll go to dashboard. I forgot to save, so let's go back and save this. Allow, save, refresh, and now we can log in, and you can see a very nice thing is that when I join here, you see it's getting updated into this place as well. So I can join this as well, and you know, this is how you build a real-time application with Laravel and Reverb. Okay, yeah, so now we have a real-time application built with Laravel, Reverb and Next.js. In the near future, I'm gonna update the Next.js boilerplate because I wanted to use TypeScript instead of JavaScript. It's very annoying just using JavaScript. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something today, and I really encourage you to give it a try and maybe do an application with this part. Thanks.